Hey folks, Tommy back here with the third residue video for Times Square. Okay, Times Square. Now people are saying that I'm hearing wrong and telling me that it was named after the New York Times. I get that. I hear that. But I know what I'm hearing on these videos, and especially when it's telling me, the transcripts right here tell me what they're saying. Okay, and a lot of times these people are reading it off of teleprompters, and but they also say it like they know it too, just like I've known it forever to be Times Square, not Times Square. And I'm not just one lone wolf crazy person, because there's plenty of people out there, especially in the ME community, that remember it being Times Square only, not Times Square. Like I said, I've never heard anybody call it Times Square in person or on TV, etc. So it is a Mandela change. It is a change for sure. I have quite a few more videos here for you of people saying Times Square, clearly saying Times Square, not Times Square, because it was Times Square before the change, and people took the update. I'm sorry. I'll pray for you. But it was Times Square, at least for us, whatever. It might not have changed for you, but that's a whole nother weird thing.
FiOS.
I gotta find where they say, okay, it's pretty close to.
Can you catch a criminal? Is criminal fast? This is 9 News Now.
His terror training and escape plan.
They were lovers 2 weeks from graduation. Now he's in jail for killing her. New details on his criminal past.
Okay, I'm missing that one. I'm sorry.
Need most.
Here we go, right here.
Information on the Times Square bomber, his terror training and escape plan.
See, it's clearly saying Times Square. I don't care what it says written on there. That can change. Alright, here's the next one. And of course.
And the suspect in the attempted Times Square bombing. The arrested man says school here in Washington, and the suspect in the attempted Times Square bombing.
Times Square. He's not saying Times, folks. I don't care what it says right there. The man knows it's Times Square, not Times. Good grief, man. Some people don't understand the Mandela effect at all. But I'm sorry. Never in my life heard it said Times Square for today. And I've heard Times Square a million times in my life.
And we're live in Times Square.
We're live in Times Square, not Times Square, because that doesn't make sense. Even if it's named after a stupid magazine or whatever, it wouldn't make sense.
Crowds of revelers are already packing in alive. Crowds of revelers are live in Times Square. We're live in Times Square.
Yeah, imagine that.
Police are, you know what, let's call it cautiously optimistic that we'll see a safe and festive end to 2015. What you don't see in this shot, police snipers on rooftops, undercover counter-terror units. Optimistic that we'll see a safe and festive end to 1 block away from our Fox Business Studios to Times Square, where police are, you know what, let's call it cautiously optimistic. Away from our Fox Business Studios to Times Square, where police are.
Times Square. And what does it say right there? Right there, Times Square, New York, not Times Square. Live Fox News, business news, Times Square. Okay, yeah, not Times. Ooh, got you there. It ain't me just making it up or mishearing. People kill me, dude. They try to. Here's Megyn Kelly. Times Square, not Times Square.
Frantic search now for the suspect behind a bomb scare in Times Square, but was it an act on a Monday? A frantic search now for the suspect behind a bomb scare in Times Square, but was it an act
of terrorism? All right, here we go again.
At least one lane right by the Grand Central. We've got Times Square still shut down, so do avoid that scene, and trains A, C, and A for this accident. It takes out at least one lane right by the Grand Central. We've got Times Square still shut down, so do avoid that.
Times Square. Right over here, Times Square again.
The ground, but it seems that way compared to how it was. 2015 now is so yesterday. It's so last year. While your New Year's resolutions may include eating less or exercising more, the Department of Sanitation resolved to get Times Square cleaned up fast.
Times Square. Clearly said Times Square. Did it not?
Exercising more, the Department of Sanitation resolved to get Times Square cleaned up fast.
All right, folks, so there you go. And I shared a a news article that I just found, a current news article, right here. New Year's Eve. Watch ball drop in New York's Times Square live stream to ring in 2020. See that? Times Square. Yep. All right, folks. Tommy here, Tommy out. May God bless you all.